What's up everyone, and welcome back to another video. My name is Ben Lee. Today we're going to be talking about a penny stock which I actually find really quite interesting. I did scoop up some shares last week. The stock has had a recent great big run up, it's come back down, it's formed a new bottom. For a penny stock, this is really important for myself as I do have a lot of experience trading penny stocks, but once you get a nice bottom, I feel a lot more comfortable starting a first position. Now, I say first position because I always like to hold a little bit of money back that I'm planning to put into a stock. In case it goes down, then you can average down your position, and if the stock goes up and 2 plus 2 is still making 4 with your due diligence, then I will start to add to my position on the way up. If not, I'll just hold it as is. For me, I feel like this is a superior trading strategy, and it's what worked for me over the last couple of years. But remember guys, I am not a financial advisor, this is just for entertainment only. So the stock I'm going to be talking about today, I'm super excited about it. I can't wait to show you guys. It is Alpine Technologies Inc., which is ticker symbol ALPP. So we're over on their website, and you can see Alpine Holdings Inc. ALPP is a publicly traded conglomerate that acquires businesses that fit into its disruptive DSF business model of drivers, stabilizers, and facilitators. At Alpine 4, we understand the nature of how technology and innovation can accentuate a business. Our focus is on how the adoption of new technologies, even in brick and mortar businesses, can drive innovation. We believe our holdings should benefit synergistically, wow, what a word, from one another, have the ability to collaborate across varying industries, spawn new ideas, and create fertile ground for competitive advantages. So guys, being a conglomerate that acquires new businesses, this is a holdings company that will purchase multiple businesses in the disruptive innovation sector. So for anybody who doesn't know, basically a holdings company is a company that holds the controlling shares in other companies and profits when they make money. It's also good for tax efficiency as they can collect profits through dividends, which can have less tax, etc. You can look into that a bit further if you wish to, but it also gives the company a lot of flexibility to be able to, as they put it themselves, benefit synergetically from one another. So if one of their companies, for example, has a facility that could really benefit one of their other ones that they hold, then obviously they can use that to their benefit. So if we just scroll down a bit further, you can see their acquisition targets. Basically, does it have synergy? Does any of the companies they have the ability to yield greater net profits or give material value back to Alpine 4 and its family companies? Does it add value, basically? And number 4, 25 million. Does the company have the ability to grow without major capital costs to a minimum of 25 million in gross sales? You know, it's always good to see that companies have a clear strategy and targets so that as an investor you can see where they're going, what they're doing, and the kind of companies that they might be investing in. And then they talk about optimization versus asset, Fortune 500 level execution strategies for our subsidiaries. So the subsidiaries are the companies that they basically purchased or they have the majority vote in. They have an optimization phase, defined period that enhances the planning, includes A4 mini MBA program for all managers and executives of acquired companies, and then an asset producing phase. Subsidiaries operate more autonomously and can be relied on for profitable returns back to Alpine 4 and our shareholders. So if we just go up to their holdings, they have a technology sector, a aerospace sector, a defense systeming, manufacturing services, construction services, and corporate services. Then we have organization with their principles. Feel free to check these out if you want. Their different models, their culture, and their A4 mini MBA program. And then let's have a look at their management. It's always nice to know who is behind the company. So on its board of directors, Alpine 4 Holding Inc.'s board of directors give guidance to executive office and other senior management in the competent and ethical operations of Alpine 4, and basically they assure the long-term interests of the company and the shareholders are being served. So down here we have Kent Wilson, which is the founder and CEO president. We've got Jeffrey Hale, Ian, I'm not going to try and pronounce that name, and we have Shannon, as well as Tabetha. And then some more that they are planning on obviously hiring. So an upcoming company that doesn't have all of its members in positions at the moment. So we'll see what happens with them and see how they get filled. Hopefully they'll have a nice impact on the company. But let's find out a bit more about the CEO. So before being named CEO present in June in 2014, so that's good to know that he's been with the company for a while now, over 7 years. Mr. Wilson was Chief Financial Officer of United Petroleum Inc. Again, good to know that he was in a good position in another company before he became CEO of this one, and was responsible for the company's financial and reporting operations, including end-to-end management and the company's supply chain and financial support systems. In prior years, he also served as the Chief Executive Officer for Crystal Technologies Limited, a technology company serving both the automotive industry and the insurance industry. Again, nice to know because they are in, as you can see here, they have aerospace, they have construction, they have manufacturing. So it's good to know that he has some kind of experience that can be brought to the table when it comes to these other sectors that he's in. Just carrying on, Kent played a key and critical role in the development and deployment of strategic web-based insurance platforms for automobile dealerships. And then it just goes on to say that he was in the University of Arizona Wildcat. Okay, so moving on from there, let's have a look at investors. We're going to do recent news. Okay, so let's just go from the start here. We have CEO Kent Wilson updates on uplisting. So this one is too small, so I'm just going to bring us over to this, which is on Twitter, which is the same thing you could just see on the page there. So it's to our shareholders. I want to update you on the status of our uplisting to the NASDAQ exchange. First and foremost, we have completed the formal step associated with applying for the NASDAQ. Corporately, we have assigned our independent board members, created an audit and compensation committees, and proceeded a capital raise of 50 million to satisfy the NASDAQ's equity requirement. And we'll go into that 50 million a little bit later on and how they got it. We have also notified FINRA of our name change, and the outcome of our shareholding meeting is because they changed their name from Alpine 4 Holdings Limited to Alpine 4 Holdings Inc. So carrying on, we are currently waiting on approval from the NASDAQ. They will either approve the application in its current state or they may request additional clarification. It is not untypical for commentary to follow the application submittal process. As of now, we are in communication with the NASDAQ and have answered any questions they have asked. While we would like to pinpoint a date of when our NASDAQ listing will go effective, we can only move at the pace the NASDAQ sets. As always, we will inform you as we move towards completion. Thank you for your support, and you genuinely are the best shareholders a company could ask for. Best regards, Kent Wilson. So this is really interesting, guys. This is a nice big tick. We'll see how this goes, but if they do actually get listed up to the NASDAQ, then we could see a big running in the share price of this company, because at the moment it is currently traded on the OTC market, which is the over-the-counter market. So basically, banks and institutions typically do not trade over-the-counter shares unless they do something like a share offering, which I'll go into a bit later on, but that's basically how they got hold of this 50 million here, which is obviously one of the requirements to be uploaded to the NASDAQ. So for me, guys, this is really exciting to be able to get in as a shareholder of Alpine 4 if they get onto the NASDAQ, and we'll just see what happens in the next couple of months. If they do, this could send the share price absolutely skyrocketing up. So obviously, guys, I'm not going to go over all of the news because we'll be here for ages, but I just want to cover some of the things that I've seen that I think is quite important. So Alpine 4 Holdings Inc. subsidiary Vayu, if I pronounce that correct, welcomes recently retired US Air Force Director of Programs, Nuclear Convoy, Technical Sergeant, wow, that is a mouthful, Nathan Greer to the team. So basically a technical sergeant in the Air Force. So basically you can see here that Mr. Greer is a former Programs Director of Small Unmanned Aerial Systems. So down here, Technical Sergeant Greer is said to be the most well-known SUAS and CSUAS expert in the Security Forces Committee. His knowledge and technical expertise had impressed general officers who toured his laboratory at FE Warren AF. Another thing that's quite interesting is additionally he has a background in cybersecurity management, and he anticipates completing his master's degree in cybersecurity at the end of this year. I feel like this is quite important as so many more things are becoming online now. Cybersecurity is always a threat to companies, and with how important the storage of data is, it can be catastrophic for a company if somebody hacks into their systems and gets hold of a load of personal or sensitive data and then shares that round. If that was the case and they were hacked, then you could expect to see, if it went public, the share price absolutely plummet. as they would get a lot of negative media attention. So one of the reasons why this is relevant and why it's nice to have this technical sergeant as part of Alpine 4, because of the unmanned aerial systems experience that he has, because one of the companies that they have is a drones company. And I feel like drones is going to be a massive, massive part of this company's future. You know, companies are now starting to use drones to not only deliver packages, which is the future in my eyes. We could see, you know, Amazon just droning out packages to people's houses. It would be unmanned. It would save a lot of time being able to fly. It would save companies enormous money on wages. And I think it would just be pretty cool, personally, to see an Amazon package land at your doorstep from a drone. But also as well in the construction industry, you imagine building a skyscraper and there's some difficult areas to get to as you're building it. If you can send a drone up with a nice camera, you can talk with other engineers about how it's best to go around building this part of the building, etc. They have a lot of uses, and I feel that drones are going to be huge in the future, so having someone with this experience could be really, really good for Alpine 4. So again, for me, this is another nice, great big tick. And if we go back to some more news, one other thing I want to talk about is Alpine 4 Holdings Inc. announces the merger of Deluxe Sheet Metal Inc. and Morris Sheet Metal Corporation to become one of the largest sheet metal contractors in the Midwest, North Central US. So it's always nice to know about mergers that happen with companies. It's a good sign of progress and can lead to more revenue, which is always what you want with a company. You want to see it constantly expanding, constantly getting more revenue. As a shareholder, this is really good news. So this was in March 8th, and you can see the business announces the combination of subsidiaries, Deluxe Sheet Metal Inc. and Morris Sheet Metal Corporation, to become one of the largest sheet metal contractors in the Midwest region of the United States. Both companies will be under Morris Sheet Metal brand. Deluxe and Morris are expected to be fully integrated by May this year. So again, this could be a nice catalyst to send the share price up. When they announce that they are fully integrated in May, we could see a nice run up. So again, going back to some of the things we talked about at the start, where their aims are to create companies, or to buy rather, companies that have good synergy with other companies. And you can see here the merger creates a more harmonious relationship between the two companies. The combining of resources empowers Morris to strengthen its brand through its strategic banking relationship, eliminate duplicative, if I said that right, and competitive interests, and expand its footprint beyond the Indiana home base. Which again is another good thing because they're looking to expand. Always want to hear companies expanding. It's great. As long as they're not expanding too rapidly and overstretching themselves, then you're going to see a nice steady growth in a company. Which again, for us as investors is great because we're just going to see a company expanding, getting more revenue, you're going to see that share price going up, and we're going to make more money. So great. And then down here, they just go into talk about like the merger of Deluxe Sheet will be really, really good. It will have enormous implications, etc., etc. I won't go into all this and bore you with all those details. But yeah, we've seen some really good things. So the NASDAQ, in my opinion, if they get listed on there, that is going to be a huge triple tick. They seem to be hiring the correct members of staff, especially for their drone company. So another great big tick. And then mergers, and they are eliminating competition to be able to monopolize and take control essentially as much as they can of an area to be able to get lots of metal contracts, which could be really, really good again. So this is the direct offering that I was talking about, how they raised the 50 million that they needed to be able to be uploaded to the NASDAQ. And you can see Alpine 4 Technologies Limited, which is now obviously Inc. Because this one was released on the 12th of February of this year. A leading operator and owner of small market businesses today announced it has entered into definitive agreements with institutional investors for the purchase and sale of basically 8 million shares of its Class A common stock at a purchase price of $6 per share. Now, this was at a time when the charts were up at $7 to $8 per share, but if you're going to be doing a bulk offering like this to institutional investors, obviously with everything in life, if you buy in bulk, you're going to get it in a discount, so they offer them at $6 a share. and this was in a registered direct offering for gross proceedings of approximately 50 million before deducting placement agent fees and expenses. So the company intends to use the net proceeds from the offering to further accelerate the company's business plan, repay some of its outstanding debts, and fund any additional working capital needs. Now, we do know that part of this plan was to enter in to be uploaded to the Nasdaq, which is great, but it is also really nice to see institutional investors being able to purchase shares of a company like this, especially now that we are actually trading under $6. Then institutional investors only really invest in stocks that they believe they're going to be able to double or triple their money in the long term. So this is a nice big tick again. For me, when I'm looking to invest, are institutional investors interested in this, especially as this is a penny stock and they can hold a lot more risk. Alright, so if you have made it this far, you're doing really, really well. I know that was a lot of information to take in. We are going to hit the charts in a moment. I'm going to look at some analysis on that and show you guys some thoughts there. But I just want to say a thank you, and if you do find value in my videos, then please go down and hit that like button. Consider hitting that subscribe button as well and joining me on this journey as we can all make money together. I love making videos on the stock market and bringing fantastic stocks like this to your attention. I can do all the diving in and spend all my time doing that, just bring you all the good stuff so you can save your time to be able to go and have fun, have a beer in the garden, etc. But still stay up to date with all your favorite stocks and news. So I can hear you guys saying, come on, let's get to the chart already. So we're over here, it's Alpp obviously, and we are on the daily. I like to look at the daily chart because as a long-term investor, I like to look at what's going on in a more zoomed out approach. And as I said at the start of the video, I like to see penny stocks that have had this big run up. Obviously we had a run up towards the start of this year. We've had the huge run up in February, and then we've had this big market correction that we've seen happening over the last couple of weeks due to the bond yields and interest rate scares. But more importantly, since then we have found this kind of bottom in this area around here. It's really nice to say, when you have a big push up, you want to see it come down, you want to see it form a new bottom that the market seems to be accepting before you get in. If you start getting in on these huge run ups, that's when penny stocks can absolutely burn you, as a lot of penny stocks are driven from FOMO, which is fear of missing out. So as you can see, when this starts to go up, loads and loads more investors start to jump in, and if you did get in early enough, then fantastic, you would have seen, for example here, a nice big run up. But you can imagine if you got in here, you got in at the top as it had a run up here, and then you get burned all the way back down. People start selling out very, very quickly because they are panic selling and they fear that the stock is just going to go pump and dump, which is what happens a lot of the time with these stocks. You'll see stocks run up, have a huge run up, and then come straight back down, and then you want to see, as I said, it form a new bottom, which is what we have here. So from its all-time highs, where we did actually hit nearly $9.50, we have come all the way down, and we are now trading at $4.30. So from its all-time highs, we are currently trading at about a 54% discount. Coming down to the RSI, we are about 50, so we're pretty much smack bang in the middle, fairly neutral, so plenty of buying and selling power to be aware of in the daily on the RSI. But down here on the MACD, you can see we're just about getting the crossover now, just about hitting into the green, so this could indicate that we are going to have a nice big push up coming up soon. Another nice thing that I can see is this green line here. This is the 100 SMA. We have seen it come down and touch it, and it hasn't gone down below. So this is, for me, this is a nice solid support line that we have built. In January, we touched on this and it got bought right back up. And you can see along this zone here, we have seemed to have found that this is a nice support area. See, we touched down, we got bought back up, come back down, and then, as I say, bouncing off the 100 SMA, and we are now currently seeing a nice spike up. Going over the last 2 trading days, we saw a 12.92% upside in this candle, and on Thursday, April 3rd, we saw a 16.89% growth here. So we've had nearly 30% in 2 days. This is one of the reasons why I always say that penny stocks can be quite dangerous. They are quite volatile. You can make a lot of money really quickly if you know what you're doing and you trade them correctly and strategically. But if you just jump in willy-nilly, you could be burned just as much. As you can see, going from here just down to here, that is a 42% loss in your money. And that's just over a couple of days. So be very careful when trading penny stocks, as they are not for the faint-hearted if you go in with large position sizes. A lot of money to be made, but remember to analyze your charts correctly and
keep an eye on the fundamentals, but that's why a video like this can be really helpful, because I can keep you updated with a lot of this news and show you what I can see on charts and how I'm trading it. So let's clear up some of the noise. Let's go to the line chart and let's start to draw on some support and resistance. So we're in a bit of choppy territory between the $3.7 and the $4.3. We have bounced around in this zone before. We're now back at the top, hitting obviously the 4.3. We have again back here, we have seen it's a bit choppy, going up and down, bouncing between, and a high, come back down. Something that is nice to see is our lows over here were at 2.3 and 2.5, and our lows over here on this side, now we are at 3.1. So we have actually got a bit of a uptrend going on, where we have gone up and up and up this way. So making higher lows is always good. It's a nice sign of growth on chart. And if we do break above this 4.3 area here, then we could see a really nice strong push all the way up to the $6 range. And just for a bit more of an in-depth look, I have drawn on the Fibonacci. You can see we are currently trading in between this zone here. You could have a nice push up every time it has gone up to the 0.6 Fibonacci. We have had a nice strong push up and a strong push down. So we could smash right through this fib all the way up to, as I said before, around the kind of $6 zone before we next hit a layer of resistance. So if we did have a breakout from current zones, you could see a whopping 40, maybe 45% increase in a position size there. But if we end up going up to all-time highs, you're nearly doubling your money. 92% nearly would be absolutely massive gains. We do like to see penny stocks that can retest the highs, and if we end up getting on the Nasdaq, we could see this. So Alpp is a stock that's very heavily on my radar. I wouldn't be going all in on this stock personally, but I will be putting some money aside. And as I said, I have just picked up some shares last week, and I will potentially be picking up some more shares if we see continued good news and catalysts coming out for this to be able to push it up. Alright guys, that's what I've got for you today. Thanks for sticking around. Hopefully you got something out of this video. If you did, remember to smash that like button. Go down, hit that subscribe button. It's like a nice big juicy red cherry, and I love cherries, so hit that button and turn on the notification bell so you can stay up to date with all my latest videos. And I do make videos like this every single week, and I want to know what your thoughts are on Alpp. Is this a stock that you're in? Is it one that you're thinking about getting in? Did you learn something from this? Go down and type Alpp with a nice big fire emoji if you're going to be getting in Alpp. I want to know the people who are interested in this, and until the next video guys, thanks for sticking around. Hope you have a glorious day, and I'll see you soon.